My father had been working in Kuwait for 10 long years, but even so, every night my mom would dress up elegantly, as if waiting for someone special. As the clock struck midnight, an 18-year-old boy would arrive to meet her. I was stunned, confused, and overwhelmed with curiosity. One night I decided to hide in the room to find out what was going on. What I saw next made the ground slip beneath my feet. My mom with that boy. To discover the shocking truth, watch this video till the end. And if you enjoyed our previous video, comment yes below. I stood there frozen, watching my mom in disbelief. Once again, she was standing in front of the mirror, carefully applying makeup and wearing her finest dress. I had entered her room to ask a simple question, but now I was left speechless by what I saw. She noticed me and was startled. "Why are you here? Shouldn't you be in bed by now?" Her tone carried a hint of irritation. I tried to gather my courage and asked softly, "Mom, what's the matter?" "I just came to check if Dad called today. I didn't get to talk to him this morning." My mom's eyes softened for a moment, but then she shook her head and replied, "No, your father hasn't called today. I'll call him tomorrow morning, and you can talk to him then. Now go to bed. You have exams starting tomorrow, remember?" I nodded but couldn't hold back my curiosity. "Mom, why are you getting so dressed up? It's almost midnight." I glanced at the clock. It was 11 p.m. She sighed, looking at me with a mix of irritation and sadness. "Why can't I dress up? Don't I have the right to feel good about myself? Just because your father isn't here, am I supposed to sit around crying?" Her voice trembled with suppressed emotions. I felt a pang of guilt for questioning her, and I quickly moved closer, hugging her arm. "Mom, I didn't mean it like that. I was just curious. If dressing up makes you happy, then you should do it." A faint smile appeared on her lips, and she gently stroked my hair. "It's just that sometimes I feel like dressing up. It reminds me that I'm still alive, that I still have dreams. Now don't worry about me and go to bed." I nodded and walked out of the room. As I reached the door, she called after me, "Don't forget to lock your room from the inside. I'll make sure you talk to your father tomorrow." I agreed, went back to my room and locked the door. But sleep was far from me. My thoughts spiraled as I sat at my desk, trying to focus on my books. The more I tried, the more I was pulled into the memories of my father. I hadn't seen him in years. I was only 3 when he left for Kuwait, and now at 13, I could barely remember his face. For a decade, we had been living apart, with nothing but phone calls to connect us. Every day, he would call to check in on us, but the conversations were brief, almost mechanical. My mom's exchanges with him weren't much different. But despite all that, my heart yearned for him. I imagined him coming home, hugging me tightly, and life returning to the way it should be, normal, happy, complete. I longed for the simple joys my friends had, going to the market with their fathers, being spoiled with treats, or just walking hand in hand at the park. We had no shortage of money. My father sent generous amounts from Kuwait every month, but money couldn't fill the void he had left in my life. Every time my friends shared stories about their outings with their fathers, I would sit quietly, my heart aching for what I didn't have. That night, as tears silently fell into my book, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. What was my mom hiding from me? Who was that boy? And why was he coming to see her at such a late hour? Little did I know the answers I sought would shatter everything I believed about my family. Even at that moment, I could feel the overwhelming sadness engulfing me. Watching my mom get ready late at night only intensified the ache in my heart. If only Dad were here, I thought. Mom wouldn't have to face this loneliness. Instead of dressing up in the middle of the night, she would be stepping out into the sunlight, holding Dad's hand, living the life she deserved. Sometimes I couldn't help but admire my mom's strength. 10 years had passed, and yet she had never once complained about Dad's absence. Whenever he called, she would greet him with warmth, exchange a few words about our well-being, and then quietly hang up. Not once did she beg him to return or express the pain of living without him. But I wasn't as patient. Whenever I spoke to Dad, I would plead with him to come back home. He would calmly reassure me, saying, "My job requires me to stay here for now. I'll return as soon as I can." His words always left me wondering, what kind of job could keep someone away from their family for 10 years? That night, lost in my thoughts, I fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up and went to check on Mom. She was fast asleep, her face peaceful and serene. The makeup from the night before had been washed away, leaving no trace of the woman I had seen standing confidently in front of the mirror. I sat beside her and gently ran my fingers through her hair. My touch startled her awake. She smiled when she saw me and asked, "What's the matter, my little doll? Why are you sitting here so early? Don't you have school to get ready for?" "I just wanted to say you looked so beautiful last night, Mom. Why did you wash off the makeup? You should have just gone to sleep like that," I said, giggling. Mom laughed softly. "Oh, that was just for a little while. You worry too much. Now hurry and get ready for school." Her playful response made me smile, and I quickly ran to my room to change. After breakfast, I stood outside, waiting for my school van. But before the van arrived, Shamsa auntie from next door hurried towards me. She had a shawl draped over her head, partially covering her face. "Noreen, who was at your house last night?" she asked in a hushed tone, her eyes scanning me intently. Her question caught me off guard. I stared at her, confused. "Auntie, no one comes to our house at night. What are you talking about?" I answered innocently, unaware of where this conversation was heading. But her reaction stunned me. She gasped and then narrowed her eyes. "Don't play smart with me. I know what I saw. A boy came to your house late at night. Are you involved with someone?" My heart stopped for a moment, and then panic surged through me. I was just a 13-year-old girl. I didn't even know how to process her accusations. Furious, I shot back, "Shamsa, auntie, have you lost your mind? Why are you making up such nonsense early in the morning? Don't you have anything better to do?" Her face twisted in anger as she glared at me from head to toe. She muttered something under her breath, probably cursing me, before storming back into her house. I stood there shaking with anger and disbelief. What was wrong with her, I thought. She was always snooping around the neighborhood, but now she had crossed the line by accusing me of something so absurd. As soon as the school van arrived, I climbed in, my mind still racing. All the way to school, I kept thinking about Shamsa auntie. Her only hobby is poking her nose into other people's lives, I thought bitterly. But this time she's gone too far. I have to tell Mom about this. What if she spreads more lies about me? When I returned home that afternoon, Mom was humming softly while cooking. Her face radiated happiness. I dropped my school bag on the floor and ran to hug her. She smiled and said, "What's the matter, my doll? I saw you talking to someone outside this morning before your van arrived." I couldn't even come to say goodbye because I had milk boiling on the stove. Her question reminded me of Shamsa auntie's remarks from earlier. I looked up at Mom and said, "You know, Mom, Shamsa auntie really upset me this morning. I wanted to tell you about it right then and there, but I was running late for school." Mom's smile disappeared as she tilted her head curiously. "What happened? What did Shamsa want from you so early in the morning?" I sighed and began explaining. "Mom, she accused me of something ridiculous. She said that a young boy came to our house last night to meet me. Can you believe that? I was so angry. I told her straight away that she was wrong, but she insisted that she saw it with her own eyes. She's such a strange woman, Mom. I can't stand her." This time, Mom's reaction was stronger. She gasped, her eyes widening in shock. "She really said that to you?" "Yes, Mom. I'm worried she might spread lies around the neighborhood," I confessed, feeling the weight of this situation press on me. Mom sat down in front of me, her expression serious. After a moment of contemplation, she said, "That woman is trouble. She's always sticking her nose where it doesn't belong and making up stories. From now on, if she tries to talk to you, don't entertain her nonsense. I'll make sure to confront her and warn her not to speak to you again." Her reassurance made me feel safe and comforted. After eating lunch, I went to my room to rest. The house was eerily quiet, and I soon fell asleep. When evening came, I returned from my tuition classes to find Mom lost in thought. "Mom, what's wrong?" "You seem worried," I asked, sitting beside her. She shook her head. Nothing, son. It's just that your father didn't call again today. I nodded, understanding her concern. Don't worry, Mom. Maybe he's just busy. Remember that one time his phone was broken and he couldn't call us for a few days? I'm sure it's something similar. Mom tried to smile and nodded in agreement, but I could see the worry in her eyes. That night before going to bed, I went to her room to say goodnight and ask her to wake me up early in the morning. But when I entered, I was surprised. Mom wasn't getting ready like she usually did. She was just sitting on the bed, lost in thought, her face clouded with sadness. Mom, you're not getting ready tonight. What's wrong? I asked, concerned. She smiled faintly, the sadness still lingering in her eyes. You're funny, my dear. When I dress up, you worry. And when I don't, you still worry. I sat beside her and held her hand. I'm worried because I know you're upset about Dad not calling. But trust me, he'll call tomorrow morning. I just know it. She avoided my gaze, but her lips curved into a small smile. I kissed her forehead, wished her good night, and returned to my room. As I lay in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about how pure and loving my mom was. She wore her heart on her sleeve. When she was happy, it showed, and when she was sad, it was equally visible. My heart swelled with love for her, knowing how much she had sacrificed to raise me. I fell asleep thinking about Mom and how much she meant to me. The next morning, before I left for school, the phone finally rang. Dad had called. Overjoyed, I rushed to take the call. His familiar voice filled me with happiness as he asked about my studies and well-being. I'm sorry, son, he said. I've been caught up with work these past few days, which is why I couldn't call. I smiled, knowing that Mom would finally feel at ease. Little did I know that the love and patience my mom had shown all these years would leave a lasting mark on me, a lesson in endurance, strength, and unconditional love. When I got home that afternoon, Mom greeted me at the door, her face glowing with happiness as she hummed a soft tune while preparing lunch. I dropped my school bag in a corner and wrapped my arms around her. Smiling, she asked, "What's the matter, my dear? I saw you talking to someone outside this morning, but before I could come to say goodbye, your van arrived and you left. I had milk boiling on the stove, so I couldn't come out." Her words brought back the memory of Shamsa Auntie's accusation, and my mood soured instantly. Mom, you won't believe what happened this morning. Shamsa Auntie made me so angry. I wanted to tell you earlier and let you handle her, but I was running late for school. Mom's smile faded as she asked, "What did she say? What could she possibly want from you so early in the morning?" I sighed and explained, "Mom, she said that a young boy comes to our house every night to meet me. Can you believe that? She even claimed that she saw it with her own eyes. I told her she was wrong, but she didn't listen. She's so strange, Mom. I can't stand her." Mom's eyes widened with shock. "She really said that to you?" "Yes," I replied. "I'm worried she might spread this nonsense around the neighborhood." Mom sat down, her face serious and thoughtful. After a moment, she said, "Shamsa is known for spreading rumors and sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. But don't worry, son. If she ever bothers you again, just ignore her. I'll handle her myself and make sure she knows her place." Her support eased my anxiety a little, and I smiled. After lunch, I went to my room, but my mind kept racing. That afternoon, on my way home from tuition, I encountered Murad Uncle near the mosque. He was a kind man, a close friend of my father's, and someone I had always respected. But what he said next left me shaken. "Noreen, can I ask you something?" he said, stopping me on the sidewalk. "Who's that boy that comes to your house every night? Is he a relative of yours?" I was stunned. "What boy, Uncle? No one comes to our house." He frowned slightly as if trying to understand my confusion. "I've seen him with my own eyes, son. For the past few nights, around midnight, a young boy, maybe 17 or 18 years old, comes to your house. He knocks on the door, and someone lets him in. I thought he might be a relative, but I've never seen anyone visit your house like this before." I stood there, unable to process his words. Unlike Shamsa Auntie, who thrived on gossip, Murad Uncle was a respectable man, someone I trusted. If he was saying this, could it be true? But how? I had never seen or heard anything strange at night. I don't know anything about this, uncle, I finally said. He gave me a reassuring smile. Don't worry, son. Maybe he's a relative your mom hasn't told you about. If your father calls, give him my regards. With that, he walked toward the mosque, leaving me standing there, confused and anxious. When I reached home, Mom opened the door and immediately noticed my troubled expression. What's wrong, son? You look worried. I hesitated for a moment and then told her everything. Mom, today, Murad uncle asked me the same thing Shamsa auntie did. He said he's seen a boy coming to our house late at night. I don't understand what's going on. Do you know anything about this? Mom's reaction was instant. She looked startled, almost as if someone had splashed cold water on her face. What nonsense is this? No one comes to our house at night. We don't have any relatives who visit, and neither does your father. Shamsa must have filled everyone's heads with her lies, and now they're all questioning you. She placed her hands on my shoulders and said firmly, Listen to me, son. There's no truth to any of this. Don't let their words upset you, and whatever you do, don't tell your father about this. He'll be worried sick, and he already has enough on his plate. I nodded, but a sense of unease lingered. Could Murad uncle really be mistaken? He wasn't the type to believe in rumors, especially not those spread by someone like Shamsa auntie, and he had claimed to see the boy himself. That night I went to my room and pretended to study, but my mind was elsewhere. Before going to bed, I went to Mom's room to say goodnight, but I was met with another surprise. Mom was getting ready again. She had put on a new outfit and looked as if she were preparing for a special occasion. I observed her from head to toe, my mind racing with questions. How could she be so calm, so cheerful, when Dad hadn't called in days and the entire neighborhood seemed to be whispering about us? But then I reminded myself, Mom deserves happiness too. She has her own life. I wished her good night and returned to my room, but sleep evaded me. My thoughts kept circling back to the mysterious boy, and then, at midnight, I heard something, faint but unmistakable, the sound of the front door opening. My heart pounded in my chest as I crept toward my bedroom door. Could it really be true, I thought, as fear and curiosity consumed me. A sudden noise made my ears perk up, and my heart began pounding. After everything I had heard from Shamsa auntie and Murad uncle, my mind was on high alert. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Slowly and cautiously, I opened my bedroom door and peeked outside. My eyes widened as I saw someone quietly entering Mom's room. Panic gripped me. Who was this person? Was it the same 17 or 18-year-old boy everyone had been talking about? Trembling, I tiptoed across the hallway and stopped outside Mom's room. When I peeked inside, my world shattered. There, sitting on the bed beside my mom, was a boy, someone I had never seen before. My breath hitched, and for a moment, it felt like the sky had come crashing down on me. Without thinking, I burst into the room. Mom, who was beautifully dressed and fully prepared as if for a celebration, was stunned to see me. She jumped up, her face pale with shock. "What are you doing here? Why aren't you asleep?" she asked, her voice trembling. I could barely speak. My words stumbled out as I pointed toward the boy. "Who is he, Mom? Is he the same boy Murad uncle was talking about?" Mom's eyes darted between me and the boy. She grabbed my hand, her grip tight, and whispered, "Promise me, son. Promise me you won't tell your father about this. Please." I pulled my hand away and stepped back. "Mom, first tell me the truth. Who is he and why is he here? Is he the same boy Shamsa auntie mentioned? You told me she was lying and I believed you. But this is real. He's here, in our house, in the middle of the night. Please tell me what's going on." Tears welled up in Mom's eyes as she sat me down and held my hands tightly. "My dear child, I'll tell you everything, but you have to promise me you won't say a word to your father. If he finds out, everything will be ruined." Her tears streamed down her face, and I felt my own heart break seeing her like this. "Okay, Mom, I won't tell him. But please, tell me the truth. I need to understand." She nodded and took a deep breath. What she revealed next shook me to my core. Before I married your father, I was married to my cousin Kamran, she began, her voice cracking with emotion. We had a beautiful life together, and our world became even more perfect when our son, Arsalan, was born. For a few years, we were incredibly happy. I had everything: a loving husband, a beautiful child, and a peaceful home. But fate had something else in store for me. One day, Kamran had an accident, and just like that, he was gone. Tears streamed down her face as she continued. After his death, I had no choice but to return to my parents' home. Arsalan was still just a baby, cradled in my arms. My sister-in-law tolerated me for a while, but eventually she started pressuring me to remarry. Proposals came, but no one was willing to accept me with Arsalan. Her grip on my hands tightened as she went on. Then one day your father's proposal arrived. His first wife had passed away during childbirth, leaving behind a daughter. He needed a second wife to help raise her. But there was a condition. He didn't want to take on any additional responsibilities. I couldn't bring Arsalan with me. My sister-in-law, who was desperate to get rid of me, promised to take care of Arsalan and insisted that I accept the proposal. Her voice trembled as she said, I didn't want to leave Arsalan behind, but I had no choice. I was trapped. My sister-in-law convinced me that Arsalan would be well taken care of, and in desperation, I agreed to marry your father. But after the wedding, I was forbidden from seeing Arsalan. I begged and pleaded, but they kept him from me. She wiped her tears with the edge of her dupatta. Years passed, and I accepted my life with your father. But I never stopped thinking about Arsalan. I found out that he had grown up without the love and care I had hoped he would receive. When he turned 17, he found me. He tracked me down and started visiting me at night, because that was the only time he could come without anyone noticing. I sat there numb as her words sank in. So he's Arsalan? I whispered. Mom nodded, her eyes filled with sorrow. Yes, son. He's my son, your half-brother. I hid it from you because I didn't want you to feel burdened or confused. But if your father finds out, he'll be devastated. He might even leave us. That's why I've kept it a secret. I'm just a mom trying to see her son, trying to hold on to the only connection I have to my past. Her tears flowed freely now, and I couldn't help but cry with her. The weight of the truth was overwhelming, but at the same time I understood her pain. She had sacrificed so much, lived with so much loss, and yet she had remained strong for me. I wrapped my arms around her and whispered, I won't tell Dad, Mom, I promise. But we'll figure this out together. You don't have to carry this burden alone anymore. That night I couldn't sleep. My heart ached for my mom and the life she had been forced to leave behind. As I lay there, I knew one thing for sure. The secret couldn't stay hidden forever. But for now, I would protect it, for her sake and for the love of the family we had left. I could feel my heart breaking as Mom's words sank in. I could never forget Kamran's death, she sobbed. Losing him shattered me, but losing Arsalan, my son, tore my soul apart. When they took him away from me, it was as if they had ripped away a part of my heart. And then I was sent off to your father's home, where you, just a small, innocent child, were placed in my arms. You had lost your mom, and I had lost my son. Fate brought us together, and I poured all my momly love into raising you. Her voice trembled as she gently held my hands. I raised you like my own daughter. I nursed you when you were sick, taught you to walk, and helped you grow into the strong girl you are today. But deep down, I carried the pain of being separated from my own child. I never let you feel the absence of a real mom, but that absence haunted me. Her eyes glistened with tears as she continued. When I married your father, he made one thing very clear. If I ever tried to reconnect with Arsalan, he would leave me. He wanted me to cut all ties with my past. I was terrified, so I buried my pain and focused on building a life with you. But no matter how hard I tried, your father couldn't forget his first wife. He loved her deeply, and her memory became a barrier between us. He couldn't truly embrace our marriage, and eventually he left for Kuwait. One reason he stayed away for so long was because seeing you reminded him of the woman he had lost. Your face, your eyes, they mirrored hers. Her words broke me. I had always thought Dad had left to support us financially, but now I realize the emotional weight he carried. I accepted my life with him and dedicated myself to you, Mom said. But the pain of losing my son never faded. Years passed, and then one day, when Arsalan was 16, he found me. He showed up at our door, and I recognized him instantly. He looked just like his father. She wiped her tears, but her voice remained heavy. I wanted to push him away, to protect the fragile life I had built. But how could I? My mom-like instincts overpowered my fears. Arsalan proposed that he visit me secretly, late at night so no one would know. I hesitated, but in the end, I couldn't say no. He was my son, I missed him, and so he started visiting me, night after night. Her shoulders shook as she cried. I didn't tell you because I was afraid you'd be hurt, that you wouldn't understand. I was terrified that if your father found out, he would leave me for good. But now the neighbors know, and they're turning this into something ugly. They don't understand that Arsalan is my son, not some stranger sneaking into our house for the wrong reasons. I knelt in front of her and took her trembling hands in mine. Mom, you have given me more love than I ever imagined. I never even knew you weren't my real mom. But you didn't need to be. You've been more of a mom to me than anyone could be. You had every right to keep Arsalan Pai with you. Dad should have understood that. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I continued. Don't worry, Mom. I won't tell Dad, but we can't live like this forever. You shouldn't have to hide your own son. It's time we tell him the truth and let him see that Arsalan Pai is part of our family. She looked at me, her eyes filled with uncertainty. But will he accept us? I nodded confidently. He will. I'm with you. We'll face this together. After much convincing, Mom agreed to talk to Dad. She called him while I sat beside her, holding her hand. Her voice trembled as she told him everything, from her past marriage to the reason Arsalan had been visiting. When she finished, I spoke up and begged him to understand, to give Mom the chance to be reunited with her son. For a moment, there was silence on the other end of the call. My heart raced, but then I heard Dad's voice, calm, understanding. I didn't realize the pain you've been carrying all these years, he said. If Arsalan is your son, then he's part of our family too. I'm coming back. We'll make this work. Mom's face lit up with joy, and tears of relief streamed down her cheeks. She hugged me tightly, promising that she would never let anything come between us. A few weeks later, Dad returned, and for the first time in years, our family felt complete. Arsalan Bai moved in with us, and the neighbors, now aware of the truth, finally stopped their gossip. As I watched my family rebuild itself, I couldn't help but reflect on how unfair life had been to Mom. Society had forced her to make impossible choices, separating her from her son and burdening her with secrecy. And yet, through it all, she had remained strong. Sometimes I wonder, why is it that women are always the ones who have to make these sacrifices? Why is it that they're the ones who bear the weight of society's expectations and judgments? Isn't it time for this to change? I leave this question to all of you. Isn't it time we let women live with dignity without having to prove themselves again and again in a world that often refuses to understand them?